morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is, good day. I hope you're having a good day. You are now tuned in to another episode of Art Power. My name is Stress Allen. I am the host, and today we'll be reacting to an artist named Logan. And this, we will see his perspective, his art, and just get a feel for how he thinks. Let's get started.
Extremely grateful to be a creative person. I feel like painting's my first love and it's the most reliable companion I have. Like when everything else falls away, when everything else becomes unreliable, when everything else becomes disappointing, art, painting, creativity, it stands above it. Creating can be pretty disappointing.
I really like that. I really like his style. You could tell that he's been spending a lot of time with his creativity.
But like it rewards in ways that make up for that. All right, I'm Logan Silv. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I like to paint, and I'm currently doing that here in LA at Wanzemer Studios. If we're going all the way back, I was painting at like 3 years old, and it kind of it was just natural. It was just one of my favorite things to do. Why I paint now is because I have like an insatiable itch to paint. I don't, like I want to do it more than most things, or maybe even everything. If I'm not painting and I'm not engaged in something that's important.
I have a question for you, the listener. Is love something that comes naturally? Is it, or is it something that grows from appreciation? I guess what I'm really asking is, he's an artist, I'm an artist, you're an artist. I assume that's why you're watching this. Like, I found that because I have been drawing every day and doing technical drills and just being abstract and creative, that the more I dedicate time to becoming better at my craft, the more I want to do it, the more love I have for it. So, do you think that hard work builds love, or continuously doing something on a routine basis every day turns into love after a while? Do you think so? Or do you think that I've just basically uncovered or unlocked a new door that I loved this whole time? What is your perspective? I'm curious.
Or fun, or we'll just leave it at that. If it's neither of those things, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I feel like I have something better to do constantly. I feel like it's a big shared memory. Like everybody loves giving kids crayons and letting them go nuts. So it was just always around, like from a young age. But there were things that stood out to me. Um, like one time, maybe in the fourth grade, I had drawn a picture of an iguana because I loved animals, and I drew it really well, and I brought it home to show my parents after school. And my dad grilled me for like an hour. He thought I stole it from somebody because it was so accurate. And then I don't know how I did it, but I proved to him I drew it. Maybe I drew something else. And then he was like, "Okay, cool. You got something here." And yeah, just kept going.
That's so big. That's such a like underrated thing. Like just his father saying, "You got something here." I'm sure it unlocked a lot of doors in his mind. It also gave him a little bit more confidence in pursuing what he loved to do. You know, how we respond to people is very, very important. I'd say.
I've definitely accepted the importance of making bad things. Like when I was a kid, I would focus a lot on the accuracy of a picture, how close it looked to the thing I wanted to draw. And now it's more focused on movement and philosophy. So that does lead to a lot of bullshit, but bullshit can be good for art. I want to make people feel like it's okay to do what you want, especially in the world of art, because it's one of the few things that's like harmless to others. Not all the time. You can make art that pisses people off, but like in the act of making art, you're not hurting anyone. So it's like, to me, it's a overall good. I get a sense of peace out of it once I make something that I'm proud of. And like I said, it's like an itch that is unrelenting. Like, I don't think it's ever gonna leave me. So I would like to make my entire life surround it. Like, I wanna keep doing it as often as I can so that I can maintain that sort of peace in my mind. Because if I'm doing anything else, I genuinely just don't wanna do it. And it's like, what is the point of living if you're just doing what you don't want to do all the time? I definitely gained incredible amounts of confidence by like when I was in New Orleans, I would I think around the age of 19 I decided to like take it seriously as a career, but the whole school path wasn't working for me, so I just went guerrilla about it. I I made art, I made prints, and I would just set up a table in New Orleans on the street and let people look at it. And that's like a big culture out there. There's a lot of artists on the French Quarter who just set their art up and let people view and buy. And that takes a lot of grit because not everybody's built to make something and then just show it to people in their face and like let them criticize. There was a lot of like there were plenty of good compliments and plenty of people who bought something.
This is 100% facts, in online media or just life in general. When you expose yourself from an artistic level or from your philosophical level or from your perspective on politics or anything, a lot of people are able to dish out critique and criticism, but when it comes to them and receiving it, there's like an invisible wall. That invisible wall, I don't know if that's the right word, but there's like this bad feeling or this paranoia that comes from being vulnerable, So being in an environment where you're exposed to that and you can get used to that, and you can convince your mind or give your mind the perspective that, oh, this criticism does not harm me. If anything, it sharpens my swords. It helps me become the type of person who can respond well or articulate my thoughts better. Or it's like training grounds, criticism for me, like, and for you, you should think of it as like a training ground, like to sharpen your ideas, to sharpen your philosophy, to question your ideas and philosophy, and just as an opportunity for growth, because a lot of times what people say doesn't necessarily have to do with you. It has to do with, how their heart feels and how they internalize situations. So you have to look at it from that perspective too. And just being outside in the streets in the French Quarter, wherever I've been, there are a lot of people who sell all kinds of art, all kinds of things in general, and been exposed to that type of market, I'm sure served him well.
Thing. But there was also a lot of this is bullshit. Why are you here? What's the point of this? This looks dumb. A lot of shit that would hurt people and send them back home, really. I think I'm a really sensitive person, but when it comes to art, it's like one thing that I don't give a fuck about getting insulted for. So it might just be something within you if you make art. Yeah, it has felt like a curse, but like sometimes it's a blessing because it's like I have a sense of purpose that most people go, oh, I wish I knew what I wanted to do with my life. At least I know. So there's like a silver lining. I usually start off with just moving. Like I'll grab scrap paper and just get my hand moving. I don't care what it actually starts to look like at first. And then when the thoughts are going, I'll start making forms that like are close to that thought. And I consider myself really experimental. Like I don't have too many preferences on how the work comes out. And I've tried all the mediums. Maybe not all of them, but I like trying mediums. Right now I'm like really into watercolor. I heard another artist, I'm pretty sure it was David Cho, he said that watercolor was like the hardest medium to master. And it doesn't look like that because it kind of looks soft in the grand scheme of things. Like people usually go to oil paint as like the grand medium, but watercolor takes a lot of surrender to get the desired outcome. First, I'm really excited to like try watercolor on a grander scale, but to answer your question, something like this is super, like it feels within my control and it feels really athletic. So I can like really exercise and really directly influence what's going on in the painting. Whereas to watercolor, it's like it demands way more focus because it's small, and then also there's that element of surrender that it begins to become meditative. But the speed varies a lot. Like you can crank out a painting within minutes, or I mean, I've spent months on a watercolor that was like 11 by 14. It all depends. Firstly, it'd be self-doubt. I'm surprised that hasn't left me by now. I've practiced a lot of affirmation to just have the balls to keep going. And then outside of that, it's usually like doubt from other people. Like it's a constant game of just staying above that to create consistently. I've worked with galleries and it was an amazing experience, but there was a lot lost in creating other people's vision and fulfilling high, what do you call that? High quotas. I want to gain independence by like really diving into bespoke work, slowing down and creating something really good, but very limited. And not limited just for the sake of scarcity, but because like the more energy you pour into one thing, the more energy you give to other people, you know? Yeah. Like no hate to artists who like mass produce, but because that's for them. They're like, I see people get in their bag with that. They make a lot of shit really fast, but I just don't see that for myself. I was in New York for about 6 years, and man, the story between New York and LA is crazy. I lived in France for about a year and 6 months, and a lot of failure led me back to the US. It was just a lot of beautiful failure. Like France is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. And I went there and achieved almost nothing I expected to. And then I made my way back here, and a good friend of mine had his first gallery represented show with this gallery. And I had promised him maybe a year before, like, I'm gonna make it to your first big show. So that was one aspect of why I'm here. But now I feel like I'm here because something needs to be born here. And every time I want to leave, something like this place gives me something and tells me to stay. Paris is awesome. I would recommend every artist go to Paris just to see everything. Like it looks like a fairy tale place. It doesn't look real. I still feel that way about like all the buildings. The people are really cool too. Like it's just a great place to be if you're an artist. I spent most of my time in a small village though. I did a lot of farming, believe it or not. I was building gardens, and I think it was fitting for the time. It really inspires a lot of my work now. I really love a good flower. I think when I was in New York, before anyone had recognized me for art, or maybe around that time, like I was getting some recognition for making art, I had told myself that I'd go to France and really hone in on my skills as an artist and like take it up another level. And I don't believe that happened. I feel like I did a lot more inner work and
It's crazy how we have, or some people can have expectations for how they're going to attack a situation, a moment, an event. But when you get there, it's like life takes over. It's just a reminder that, yeah, we are in control, but it's only a little bit, a little portion of outcome that we can affect by our actions or by our thoughts. You know, the rest plays out on a, I don't know if you're spiritual or if you're not, but it plays out on like a, not plays out, but it's affected by something bigger than us, you know. And I guess for me personally, I had to come to the realization that I'm not in control, and therefore I should focus on the things that I know I can control every day. So that's why it's become important to me to take care of my health and just be consistent with how I attack the day, and you know, let the outcomes be the outcomes, because the outcome is in our control, but the process of becoming, or the process of getting better, or the process of how I interact in relationships, like those are things I can control. But the outcome of those, of my actions, are out of my control. So that's really changed my perspective and how I live my life, how I walk every day, how I attack the day, and how I just adjust, you know, because it's okay to have goals, it's okay to have visions, it's okay to have dreams, but it's best to be flexible about the route that you take to get there and not be so rigid in the structure, because sometimes being rigid will make you miss out on blessings that are meant for you because you didn't see those things as blessing when you were making your plans, you know. They weren't valuable. They weren't options that you could take because you didn't know about them. And if you let those opportunities pass you by because you want to do it a certain way, then it may take you longer to get there, you know.
hard labor. I don't see I don't see any other way than to see it like that. Like if I come out of a situation, even if I fail, like I have to relate it to I have to see it as a net good in terms of creating art. Because if I just look at the past and see bullshit and trauma, it feels like a waste. So I feel like I'm still using lessons learned from then to fortify skills now. I would tell them to quit, and then if you can't quit, like I said, that insatiable itch comes to you, then you have that thing that an artist needs, and then there's just no quitting. And from then I would say stop asking for permission, or stop asking like how to, it's okay to ask how, like how to maintain inspiration, but like I guess I would tell them this is the best field to be impulsive in. Follow your impulses and like act on them now. Life doesn't really reward people who are impulsive in other fields, but in this one, follow your gut and like really jump on those opportunities. And if you have ideas, act on them now. I'm pretty hard on myself throughout the day about all this creative shit, but like having you guys here, it looks like a what do you call that? Like a pinpoint? Yeah, like a little timestamp. It's like, yeah, this is correct. Being different than other people is really lonely, and it feels arrogant to think of myself as such most of the time, but then it shows itself through regular interactions. Um, and it's not like a woe is me situation because I do often find people who I can feel comfortable with and like let myself be myself around them, but that doesn't always feel like the case in most interactions. It feels like holding myself back. It feels like not saying things I want to say. Some people might call it masking, and I love expressing that feeling through art. I love making masks that represent this feeling. I often find myself making things that almost worship anatomy, from humans to animals. And these characters, I love making characters, and I put them in situations that me or other people can probably relate to. And then sometimes I like to stretch those things into just absurd situations that also people feel like they can relate to. A lot of people who collect my work also feel different from other people. Not too many normies collecting my work. And when they do, they probably grabbed it from an auction or something through a gallery. So I guess, galleries are good at translation. Understanding the world around you through knowledge of self. And despite how hard it may be, knowing yourself honestly. I mentioned earlier, the acrylic paint brings a large sense of control when making anything, and that helps me with speed. I have so many ideas that I get bombarded with them, and acrylic really helps me get those ideas fast enough to like translate it and show it on time. On time being whatever I personally feel like is on time. I love drawing. I think it's the first, like before I painted, I drew. And drawing is like the skeleton of everything.
Exactly, exactly. That's why I am being adamant about teaching myself how to draw and create systems within my day that allow me to set aside time and a structured process for how I am going to do that because, I aspire to paint. I want to do acrylic painting. I want to do airbrush painting. I want to do sculpture. I want to do so many things. I want to continue to be a photographer and take photos. If you haven't had a chance to view it in my photo books, they are now currently, on my website, stressallen.com. I want to make films. I want to continue to write. A few of my books that I've written are on stressallen.com. But I just want to continue to create things that I wish were in the world, like from my perspective. And these things I hope to be like valuable and to help you evolve and to inspire you to create because that's really what life is about. That's, I feel like one of my purposes in life is just to help others, add to what they're doing to help them become better versions of themselves, to help them find out what they're supposed to create and just remove barriers that they may have internally or externally so that they can evolve as well, you know?
It's the foundation and the framework. I've gone by self-taught a lot, but I think I'm self-teaching, which keeps the conversation ongoing. Like I don't know a lot and I'm still exploring. Currently what I'm exploring is deities. The idea of deities, heavenly bodies or even hellish bodies, something more than human that influences human life. So my mind's eye is constantly seeing visions that are either generated or received. So if they're generated, it's something I might be pushing through on my own. And if it's received, I just picked up something from somewhere else that I can't see. And it's like multiple movies playing in my mind's eye at once. And I would like to get a hold of all of them and show everyone exactly what I'm seeing in real time, but I'm a human, so I can't. And my favorite way to render these visions is through painting. I've noticed I've painted those or drawn those when I was feeling really sad. So I think they're just a symbol and reminder of peace. For the dogs, they tend to come up when I feel like I need backup. They're like a psychological teammate, and just painting them makes me feel better. They make me feel safer. And as for the flowers, I don't know. I've just had a ton of experience over the last couple of years where flowers have been prevalent, and I'm really appreciating the cliche of stopping and smelling the flowers or the roses. I want them to know that I'm extremely grateful for them, because I attribute a lot of my work ethic to myself. But on them days when I really don't want to do anything, I don't have to look far for like a thank you for doing what you do type of message, and that means a lot to me. Like I said, I never started off looking to impress anyone or be some type of symbol for whatever, but people come to me and they say thanks, and they appreciate the work, and that appreciation just spirals upward for me, because I see people care enough to even say thank you, you know? I feel like around COVID, man. I was gonna say around COVID, I found myself in a long period of isolation, but I was definitely around or talking to a lot of artists. I think I've always been around artists now that I think about it. That might be the number one reason why my work transforms in the first place, because I can't quite pinpoint when it happened, but there was a time when I found myself around more creative people and the work definitely expanded into something better, in my opinion. Like being around other creative people will cultivate your taste and then push you to try to make better artwork. I don't think I saw too much contemporary art growing up, like before I was 18. I definitely saw a lot of cartoons and anime, and that inspired the hell out of me. Anime is great for inspiration, but athletics was a big one. I'm really inspired by athletes because they put their whole body into achieving things and showing it. They do both. They work alone, they work in the dark, they work with their teammates where no one sees them. And then all that work is in front of everyone to see when the time's right, when it's game time. And that really inspires me. There's you name any athlete and I appreciate them for what they do, you know. Maybe not what they think or talk about all the time, but that's life. And I'm definitely inspired by a lot of musicians. I don't think I would enjoy making art as much if music wasn't a factor. I love music. I listen to music all the time while I'm painting, while I'm just walking around. I listen to literally everything. And I'm sure plenty of people have heard people say that, and they got the memes about it, like showing that motherfucker who listens to everything. But I really do. My first favorite music I've ever like when I heard it, I was like, I'm gonna love this forever, was like metal and metalcore. And I don't know why. Maybe it's like all the stimulating sounds and all the juxtaposition in sounds. Like you'll have a super feminine singer paired with a literal dude who can roar like a bear, and instrumentals that are, they can be akin to jazz at times, or classical music. And I think being introduced to that type of music tapped me into all the other forms of music because they have so much of a mixture in it. Love jazz, love electronic, love hip hop, I love country. Uh, you name it, I'm gonna probably listen to it just to get a feeling of something, you know? I like to play guitar pretty poorly. Like, I'm not good by any means, but that's my favorite one. I love guitar. I don't think much is changing at all, really. I have enough space to dance. Like, I like to mosh in here just to, like, get up and, like, get in the mood to make anything. And then I get to work, which has been the case wherever I've been. And the only time it's been different is if the studio is too small. Um, that shit'll drive me crazy. Like, I just need enough space to be able to move around a little bit. I have a hard time leaving the studio. Like, the day is usually good, but sometimes nighttime is when the ideas really spark and I'm feeling it. But it's usually from the morning till 8, 9 o'clock. Um, and then I have to take breaks to eat. That's funny. It feels like a chore just to go eat sometimes. I love eating. I love food, but being pulled away from the ideas always kind of it gets annoying. Uh, and then I love being here because I got a homie down the hall, and this is the first time I've been in a shared studio space, and it's open for people to come view whenever. So there's always like little surprises, like people come say hi or just come hang out or come look at stuff. And because
This is like something I'm looking forward to, like as I continue to grow as an artist, as I find somewhere to work, and as I start like live streaming myself working, and I wanted to create like I'm from America, you know, so and I grew up in an environment that loved hip hop, loved R&B, loved like partying and clubbing. So like I don't want the necessarily party vibes, club vibes in the studio, but I'm looking forward to creating a space that's like where I can live with my work, you know, where my family can come, watch, uh, participate, play music, have friends, the homies come through, and just it be a whole like experience, you know. I want to live stream it, so I'm looking forward to finding a space and cultivating an environment of creation, of inspiration, of safety, you know, a safe space for people to come be themselves, you know. I'm looking forward to that. So the fact that he mentioned that he's in a shared space, you know, there's a lot of benefits to that. And there's a lot of benefits to having a place where people or collectors can come. Or just your friends come view your work, come see you in the process of becoming and being you, and how inspirational, not inspirational, but how much inspiration you will give to someone else who is afraid to pursue their purpose, you know?
in this little independent space where I can do whatever I want and let people in whenever I want. Uh, it's more fun than other situations I've been in. I definitely see myself as an introvert. Uh, I am pretty timid. I am pretty outwardly calm. I get that one a lot, but I'm doing that because my head is going crazy most of the time. Like, or I'm just seeing shit that takes too much time to sit and explain to people at any given moment. So I'm spending a lot of time regulating, I guess, or like parsing out which thoughts should be paid attention to, if that was okay to think, if that was like, I don't know. Everything's okay to think. Not everything's okay to act on, you know what I mean? Uh, I'm definitely very driven. I'm so driven, I don't even think I feel possessed sometimes. I think I'm a mirror. And I think that because I feel like everyone else is a mirror. When I meet someone else and we get to a certain level of conversation, I just start to see myself, for better and for worse. And I feel like the best way to treat yourself is with kindness. So, I mean, I try to treat most people with kindness. Like on the table, we got some horses. Nothing too deep here. We got some muse work. We got some dark muse work. We got some swans. We got some lyrics I should probably throw away. Shit, you might be surprised by some stuff I see here, and I might be too. Got a little sketchbook. There's a lot of pistols in here for some reason. More pistols. Some fantasy bullshit. I'm purposefully skipping some things. Practice in motion, you know? It doesn't have to be anything, just get your hand moving. We got a little anatomy book. I think these come in handy because, like you said, the phone is evil. And what better way to combat evil than by picking up a book? Where I would usually Google an image, I can just refer to this. And I love anatomy. Got a lot of good stuff in this one. This one has some pretty good stuff. You might notice a lot of self-portraiture, and I feel like I picked that up from Frida Kahlo, because she seemed to have drawn herself incessantly. And it's like super good to do that, because why go look for a model when you can just get to painting? You have the structure right in front of you when you look in the mirror. These are not, they originate from France. They're like a conqueror symbol or a symbol of the royalty, but I'm from New Orleans. All right, so that's a fleur-de-lis. I do have some tattoos of that, and there's a good example of that on the cover of this book. Where I'm from in New Orleans, this shit is everywhere. If you go to France, they'll probably tell you the extended history of the fleur-de-lis, and if you go to New Orleans, they'll probably tell you this is just New Orleans. Same symbol on the Saints football team, all that good shit. But yeah, I put it on top of this like demonic character's head to represent power, I guess. But I like to draw on the walls a little bit. Sometimes I got my friend Krush over here who drew that Virgo head. It's not very clear anymore because I tried erasing everything off the walls, but that chalk stick, the charcoal stick, is pretty permanent. These are personifications of emotional modalities, I would like to call them. And they have their own names and everything. That black character is probably familiar to anyone who follows me. I like to call him Joyous Expansion. And what that means to me is finding direction, I wouldn't say happiness, but like just finding a sense of knowing while in the void. The void being the state one might find themselves when they feel like they have nothing left, you know? Like their anger's all spent up, their happiness is all gone, their sense of purpose is gone, and that guy represents like surrender to that feeling, you know? Like it sounds like a hopeless state, but when you learn how to surrender to that, you actually expand all your options. that white character with the blue hair, I would call that a sadness unparalleled. I'm still trying to figure out what he's all about. Like, I spent a lot of time hating on that character because the personality associated with it kind of is a little bitch. But it's not. There's actually power to processing sadness. And then the red guy would be a rage undeniable. I guess with him, I'm exploring the idea of righteous rage or even the destructive nature of rage. I think that all three of them have like light and shadow sides, you know?
You can really tell that Logan is the type of person who has reflected on his story, learned lessons from others, and just has strong intrapersonal relationship with himself, you know. Good interview, good philosophy, good perspective. There are a lot of gems in this interview. I want to thank you for taking the time to spend with me, or I want to thank you for spending time with me, and see you next time on another episode of Art Power.